Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Prodigy Music Man, and I want to do a quick update on my Maserati GranTurismo. Now, as you guys know, I bought this car about a year ago, and the original retail price for that car was $150. I got it for $62,000. It only had 8,000 miles on it. It's a beautiful, awesome, wonderful car, but there was something that happened to me when I first bought the car that kind of freaked me out, and I want to talk about it right now. Now, you may be thinking that one thing I didn't think about going into the car was the repair cost for the car. That's not true. I had been thought about that, but one of the things that worried me about the car was actually something catastrophic happening to it. And luckily one day I'm driving home and I'm noticing something going on with the car in which the actual air conditioning was kind of like trickling down or whatever. You know, like sometimes when you use a lot of Freon, the air conditioning has a lot of condensation around the pipes or whatever, and then it starts to drip. So I'm looking under the car to see what exactly is going on, and as I look under the car, I see rust, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Legitimately, I see big rust mounts on my car, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Don't tell me the bottom of this car is rusted out. So I looked on the other side, and on the exact same spot on the other side of the car, I see rust. So in two places, the car is rusting, and I mean, like, it looks pretty bad. My dad used to have an old truck from the 60s, and it kind of reminded me of that. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I immediately hit up the internet. I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on with the car. Why is it rusting right now? Like, and is this something I should be worried about? In addition to that, I called the place I bought the car from and told them about it, and I'll tell you what happened with that in a second. But so I'm looking it up, and basically, like, this is a common rust problem on Maserati GranTurismos. So if you own a Maserati GranTurismo, if you're thinking about owning a Maserati GranTurismo, don't freak out about this particular thing, but you need to get it fixed. And here's where the things went really good. I called my guys at the shop where I bought the car from, and they said, hey, just bring it here, we'll take care of it, not a problem at all, right? Fantastic people. They took care of it. They got the car looking good, told me a little bit more about it. Basically, what I came to find out is that Maserati does not actually put like protective coating on the bottom of their cars because their factory or the cars are made in Italy. So, you know, like in a typical American car, you're gonna have a lot of rust protection on the bottom because of, you know, driving it in like on roads that have been salted for weather or whatever, just to protect it from those types of chemicals. But apparently in Italy, they don't have to worry about that, which sounds like a pretty cool thing to experience, I guess, is to always have nice weather to drive your car in. But yeah, so that was the thing that freaked me out. Now, I can't lie, like a lot of times when I'm driving the car, I am sitting here and I'm worried about, you know, is something going to break on it that's just going to be astronomically high to fix? I know maintenance is going to cost a lot on a car. I accept that. But when I was getting insurance for the car, I couldn't go with a regular insurance agency. I had to get car insurance through Haggerty because I had to go through their exotic car line or insurance brand that they have. So even just dealing with the insurance part while I was buying the car, I was realizing, okay, this is very different. This is different than my Corvette. This is different than my Porsche. This is completely different. This is something different, Porsche Cayenne. So in doing that and learning that, okay, something like this could freak me out, I'm talking to my sales rep and I'm like, look, this kind of spooked me, you know, but he told me something. He said, look, you know, drive the car. The car is meant to be driven. Don't worry about it. You know, it was purposely built for a reason, and the reason was to enjoy the car. And I thought about what he said, and it even harkens back to my Corvette. When I drive my Corvette soft, my Corvette's very jerky. It's not very smooth. When I'm revving my Corvette out at least over 4,000 RPM, it is like buttery smooth. That transmission feels good. Everything feels great in the car. And the car feels better or well equipped to handle higher speeds than most other cars. With the Maserati, one of the things about it is, you know, you're worried kind of like, okay, well, do I hear something funny? Is this not working? Is that not working? For the most part, everything is working on the car. Let me think. I don't think there's anything that's like critically wrong. Obviously, you know that it's a dated interior, but as far as like the car itself goes, it's holding up very well. So that being said though, that is one of the things that did freak me out when I bought the car, but it's pretty much been all good ever since then. Another thing I want to tell you about is the battery. So when I first bought the car, the dealership put a brand new battery in the car for me. And I was like, that's dope, because I did notice that the car was on a tender when it was at the dealership, which is freaking great, right? But what I didn't understand until I got into the Maserati GranTurismo communities is that, like, why people would tender them so much and what exactly were the rules or some of the issues that would happen. I've seen videos online where people are driving these cars and they've got check engine lights on them, or they've got like tire pressure lights on them, and I was always kind of confused, like, okay, why are you driving your car in these types of conditions? And I can't front, like, I got a tire problem in my front, and it's always, that light usually comes on if it's been sitting for like 2 weeks or something like that. But as far as the battery goes, let me tell you some of the things that I've experienced regarding the battery. So one of the first things I noticed with the battery was, if I don't have it, like, say for example, if the battery drops below like 70%, I'll start to get like funny lights for things that seem to be, you know, working fine. As soon as I drive it, the lights go away or something like that. Or say for example, the tire pressure monitor, right, the TPM, that will actually go off even if the tire is all good. If the voltage is low, it's almost like it can't read it doesn't have enough signal to read the tire pressure. It's really weird. So when I started, thanks to somebody who posted on the board, they're like, hey bro, like, nice car, but I do recommend you just tender it just anyway, just do it as a precaution, because these cars do get really finicky when it comes to voltage. So in doing that, after that person suggested it to me, I did notice that issue of the TPM thing going on and off regarding my tires not even being able to be read, that went away. So I religiously keep my car on tender when I know I'm not going to drive it for like 3 or 4 or more days, right? That's one of the bigger things there too. I also have a Corvette, so I keep that on tender as well, mainly because I've noticed that if I don't tender that car, maybe after like 2 weeks of not driving it, it's a little harder to start it. So I usually have to try to start it twice before it starts. And I don't really want to be stranded in any of these cars, so I try to do my best and just take care of the cars from a tendering standpoint, because that electronic stuff is really finicky, especially with the Italian cars. I'm a little bit more paranoid about the Maserati than I am about the Corvette. The Corvette is it's got more technology in it, but somehow it feels like simpler. And I think because I know the cost to fix the Corvette is going to be less, I'm not freaking out so much about that. One more thing too. So this is almost becoming a 3 things that I've learned in owning a Maserati GranTurismo video, right? So let me say that. These are 3 things I've learned in owning a Maserati GranTurismo. The very last thing that I've learned that I have yet to take care of, but I need to do, is the paint on the cars is very, light. So for example, driving it up and down the highway, I'm getting, nicks and things like that on the car, and the paint's just coming off. So I had to order paint from Germany. Actually, did it come from Germany or Italy? I ordered paint from eBay from Europe. I don't know where it came from, right? I got a link from a licensed dealership to say, hey, order this type of touch-up paint and bring it in, and we're going to touch it up and do this and that to it. I was like, cool, right? So I ordered it. It took it felt like 3 to 4 weeks to come here, okay? And this was kind of during COVID, towards the end of COVID. So maybe that's what it was with the whole supply chain thing or whatever. So it came here. It finally came. I haven't done anything to the car as far as like getting it fixed, because I'm supposed to take it to them, but I love driving the car. So I have to figure out a time in which I don't want to drive the car and take it to them. But I want to get some of these little dings and stuff taken care of. And another thing I want to do while it's there is I want to get the car wrapped in a protective film covering. And that's really important, because in my Corvette I have that, and it's actually done a great job of keeping the paint intact on the Corvette. It's fantastic. But I kind of want to go a little extra and do the whole car, because I just don't trust the paint in different parts. And if I'm gonna go and spend the money on the front part, I might as well do it on the rear. The hips on the car are pretty wide too, so I just want to take the extra step to be a little bit more cautious with the car and keep it as nice as possible for as long as I have it. How long will I have it? I don't know. I've even looked at people doing the infotainment things. You guys have suggested that I do that, and in all honesty, I can't lie, I kind of want to do it, but I'm afraid of opening that up, and just like, if I have to like cut something in there or do something in there, I'm just not looking forward to doing that. But the other part of it too is I don't necessarily trust a third party thing that I have no background as to like where they're programming this stuff from. So I got to look into it more. I know in the forum there's a guy that sells the parts and he does all the install videos you see on YouTube, Cayman Spider or something. I forgot the name of his YouTube channel, but he seems pretty confident that pretty much anybody could do it. He seems to have done it a bunch of times. I wish I could just let him do it and not have to worry about it. I'm kind of getting over doing things to cars and going inside of them, especially cars where I feel like if I break something because I don't know what I'm doing, it's gonna cost me a lot of money. I've done so much in the past, but this is a little different. This is my baby. I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious with this one, and you know, maybe one day I will get that Android wireless, not Android, sorry, Apple CarPlay in my Maserati with a nice screen and replace the old school telephone button.